Hey everyone, and welcome to this mini deep dive.
Yeah, hey.
In just a few minutes, we're going to give you the know-how you need to hire a Tortoise SVN developer. And we've got some really great insights today, straight from the experts at theperfectdeveloper.com.
Definitely the place to go for finding those awesome developers.
And actually, if you're looking for a super quick way to find the perfect developer, they have this thing called the 5 questions tool.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's a really easy way to pinpoint the right person for any project you might have. So
Yeah, definitely check it out.
check it out at theperfectdeveloper.com. It's a game changer.
For sure.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. So first things first,
Yeah.
what exactly is TortoiseSVN?
Well, you can think of TortoiseSVN as like bringing order to all the chaos of software development.
Okay,
It's a version control system,
gotcha.
and it basically tracks every single change that's made.
Uh-huh.
Who made it, when they made it. It's especially important when you're talking about legacy projects.
Yeah, legacy projects, you hear that a lot. What makes them so, I guess, reliant on TortoiseSVN?
TortoiseSVN has been around for quite some time, so it's really built up this solid reputation for being reliable,
Makes sense.
especially with these like large, complex systems, the ones that have been around forever.
Yeah.
Think of industries like finance or healthcare,
Uh-huh.
where like a single error could be disastrous.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Really bad. So TortoiseSVN uses this centralized approach,
Okay.
and it has that detailed change history.
Yeah,
So it really helps provide that like much needed stability and accountability.
so like having a really good paper trail.
Exactly, exactly.
Awesome. So does that mean then that a TortoiseSVN developer is basically like a time traveler
Kind of.
who keeps those legacy systems running, but what are they doing day to day? What does that actually look like?
So they're managing the central repository
Okay.
where all the project files are, making sure that everybody on the team has access to like the most up-to-date version.
Yeah.
But it's more than just like hitting save, right?
Right.
They're using branching and merging,
Okay.
which is like, imagine creating separate timelines for different features and then weaving them back together
Whoa.
seamlessly.
So developing a new feature, but not disrupting anything.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
That's branching and merging.
Wow. That
That's
sounds
powerful stuff.
intense. It's like project management for code, but with a time travel twist.
I like that.
So what sets TortoiseSVN developers apart from other developers?
Well, I'd say they need to be really, really good at resolving conflicts.
Makes sense.
Those inevitable clashes that happen when you have multiple developers working on the same files.
Yeah.
So like you've got two people changing the same line of code, right?
Well,
TortoiseSVN helps them identify those conflicts, and then the developer swoops in.
the hero.
Yeah. Uses their expertise to combine the changes without, breaking everything.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially
Yeah.
when you're talking about those really critical systems.
Yeah.
So let's say I need to hire a TortoiseSVN developer. What are some skills I should look for? Like, obviously they need to know TortoiseSVN really well, but what else?
Yeah, so obviously deep TortoiseSVN knowledge is key, but they also need strong programming skills.
Okay.
But also, and this is important, they need excellent communication and collaboration skills.
Oh, yeah.
Because remember, they're working within a team, and they have to be able to explain these complex technical details.
To people who maybe don't understand.
Right, exactly. And then, of course, they have to be good at troubleshooting problems.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's where their in-depth understanding of TortoiseSVN is really, really going to shine. You can find developers with these skills at theperfectdeveloper.com, by the way.
Oh, good reminder. So I need someone who knows what they're doing, but they're also a team player
Absolutely.
who can navigate, the tricky situations.
Yeah.
All right, let's get down to like the practical stuff here.
Mhm.
How much is hiring a TortoiseSVN developer going to cost me?
Well, it really depends on a few different things,
Yeah.
It depends on their experience, their location, and the scope of the project.
Okay.
So like a junior developer, you're probably looking at around $25 to $50 an hour.
Okay.
But for a senior developer, you could be looking at $80 to $150 an hour.
Wow. Okay. Big difference.
Yeah. And for full-time roles, you should expect to pay somewhere between like $80,000 to $120,000 annually in North America.
Okay.
And remember, theperfectdeveloper.com, they have all these benchmarks for salary ranges, which can be super helpful when you're budgeting.
That's a really good tip. Thanks for the reminder to check out those benchmarks. So another big question I think that people have is, full-time, part-time, freelancer. Like, how do I decide which one is right for me? For my project, I mean.
Right. Well, it depends on what your project actually looks like. If it's
Yeah.
ongoing and needs attention all the time, a full-time developer might make the most sense.
Right.
But if you've got something that's shorter and, maybe a little more defined, then
Yeah.
maybe a part-time developer
Oh,
or a
really?
freelancer could be the way to go.
Okay, that makes sense.
ThePerfectDeveloper.com actually has both, so
Oh, perfect.
you can find either one there.
Awesome. So it's all about like matching how often they're working to what the project needs.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so another question I have is in-house or outsource?
Mm.
Like, what are the things I should be thinking about there?
Good question.
What are the main factors?
Well, you can think about it as control versus cost, right?
Okay.
With in-house developers, you've got more direct oversight,
Yeah.
which is sometimes really important, especially for those sensitive projects. But on the other hand, you're also the one responsible for paying their salaries,
Right.
their benefits, doing all the administrative stuff.
Okay.
Now, outsourcing can sometimes be more cost-effective. You can tap into a global talent pool, which is really cool.
Oh, interesting.
But then communication can be a little bit harder.
Right, because of time zones and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right.
And you have to coordinate across those time zones.
Gotcha.
Now, thePerfectDeveloper.com can actually help with both.
Oh, nice.
So you can explore both of those avenues pretty easily.
That's awesome. So it's like weighing those two things,
Yeah.
control versus cost.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay. And then speaking of global talent, should I be looking for someone local or should I think about going international?
Well, think about your priorities first.
Oh.
Local developers are easier to communicate with, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And you have that shared context, but they might be more expensive.
Makes sense.
Going international can open up a ton more options.
Right.
And you might be able to find someone for less money,
Okay.
but communication becomes even more important if you go that route.
So it's a trade-off.
It is.
Okay, so theperfectdeveloper.com can help with both of those options too, right?
Yeah. Exactly. They can help you navigate the local and the international talent pools.
So I can find what I really need.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so let's say I found someone promising on theperfectdeveloper.com.
Okay.
How do I know during the interview that they actually know TortoiseSVN? Like, what question should I ask?
Ask about their experience, their practical experience.
Yeah.
Ask about how they approach branching and merging,
Yeah.
how they've resolved tricky conflicts, and
Gotcha.
what their experience with legacy systems has been.
Right.
That'll give you a better idea of how much they really know.
So not just like checking off boxes on a resume.
Exactly.
Okay, so can you give me an example? Like, what kind of question could I ask?
Well, you could ask something like, tell me about a time when you had a really tough merge conflict. How did you go about fixing it?
Oh, I like that.
That'll show you how they solve problems.
Right.
And how well they understand what TortoiseSVN can do.
That's really smart. Okay, so let's say I found the perfect TortoiseSVN developer. I hired them. They're on the team.
Yep.
How do I make sure they're set up for success from the very beginning?
Onboarding is so important.
Yeah.
You don't want them to start a new job and feel completely lost.
Oh, no.
So first, make sure they have access to everything.
Okay.
Accounts, repository permissions, project documentation.
Gotcha.
You want to be really clear about what the goals are and
Yeah.
what you expect from them.
Uh-huh.
Now, if your TortoiseSVN setup is a little unique,
Okay.
maybe offer a little bit of training for
Yeah.
some guidance.
Makes sense.
And lastly, make them feel like part of the team.
Yes.
Welcome them.
Yeah.
Make it collaborative.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference, especially when they're new.
So clear expectations, right tools,
Yeah.
and making them feel welcome.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot in this mini deep dive.
We have.
Are there any, like, challenges or misconceptions about working with TortoiseSVN developers that we should talk about?
There are.
What are some things that people might get wrong?
One big misconception is that TortoiseSVN is outdated.
Oh, interesting.
It's true that newer systems like Git have gotten really popular.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
But TortoiseSVN is still really reliable,
Okay.
especially for those legacy systems.
Oh, makes sense.
Remember that analogy, the trusty old car?
Uh-huh.
Sometimes the tool that you know and that you've used forever is the best one for the job.
Right, because it works.
Exactly.
Okay, and what about the developers themselves? Are there any, like, challenges they face that we should be aware of?
One challenge is that people think they're only working with, like, old technology,
Right.
which isn't really fair.
Yeah.
And that can make it harder for them to, grow in their career
Right.
or to try out newer tools.
Right.
It's important to remember that knowing TortoiseSVN really well, especially for those legacy systems,
Yeah.
is super valuable. And
It's-
it takes a special skill set to do that.
That's a really good point. So it's about appreciating, I guess, like how much they know.
Yeah.
And all of their experience, no matter what technology they're using.
Exactly.
So, okay, let's say I've found this awesome TortoiseSVN developer.
Okay.
How do I make sure that they want to stay? Like, how do I keep them around?
Well, you've got to pay them well, of course.
Right, competitive salary.
Yeah, you want to show them that you value them, right?
Yeah,
But it's not just about the money.
okay.
It's also about giving them chances to, like, learn new things,
Yep.
maybe some training on different tools, or even helping them go to industry conferences.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then also, you want to create a work environment where they feel supported.
Yeah, make them feel good.
Exactly, where they feel like their work is important.
Makes a big difference.
It really does.
Awesome. This has been so helpful.
It
We've covered a lot about TortoiseSVN developers, like what they do, the skills to look for, how to hire them, how to keep them happy.
And we busted some myths.
We did. But before we wrap up, I just want to remind everyone that finding the right developer,
Yeah.
no matter what they specialize in, can really make or break a project.
Absolutely. And if you're looking for some really great TortoiseSVN developers or developers with any skill set, really,
Yeah.
theperfectdeveloper.com is the place to go.
It is?
They have this 5 questions tool that can help you find the perfect candidate.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that earlier.
It's really fast and easy to use.
That's awesome. Okay, so as we finish up this mini deep dive,
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious, with software development changing so much,
Always changing.
what do you think the future holds for TortoiseSVN and for the developers who use it?
That's a good question.
That's a big one.
Even with all these new technologies popping up,
Yeah.
there are always going to be systems that need to be maintained.
Yeah, those important ones.
Exactly. The ones that keep businesses and industries going.
Makes sense.
And TortoiseSVN has been around for a long time,
It has.
and it's really reliable.
Okay.
So I think as long as those complex systems are out there and they need people to manage them, TortoiseSVN developers are going to be in demand.
So it sounds like, just like the systems they work on,
Exactly.
TortoiseSVN developers are going to be around for a long time.
I think so.
Awesome. Well, to everyone listening, if you're trying to find a great developer, you know where to go.
You do.
Head over to theperfectdeveloper.com and check out that 5 questions tool.
Yep. It's a great place to start.
It might be the first step to, building that amazing team you've always wanted.
For sure. Well, this has been fun.
It has been.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for all the insights. And remember, everyone, the world of software development is like this huge, ever-changing thing.
It really is.
So embrace it, be curious, and never stop learning.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And that's it for this deep dive. See you next time.